Welcome to Canadian Innovators, the show that celebrates innovation, entrepreneurs, and the Canadian spirit. I'm Jocelyn Bamford, and every week we introduce a new entrepreneur or expert in the economy, tell their stories, and unpack the challenges of keeping jobs in Canada, as well as share ideas for economic growth and prosperity. There is a crisis brewing with regards to Canadian unity. Joining me to discuss is former federal minister of finance and friend of the program, the Honorable Joe Oliver. Welcome back to the program, Joe.
Thank you very much for having me.
Joe, you recently wrote a compelling article in the National Post. Canada's survival depends on treating Alberta fairly. You state that Ottawa needs to tread lightly on two issues: oil, gas, and the notwithstanding clause. Joe, you detail in the article that Western alienation has been growing since 2015, the result of federal incursion into the provincial jurisdiction and Justin Trudeau's hostility in natural resources. In a recent Leger poll in May, 47% of Albertans said they favored separation, while fully 55% Canadians said they understood Alberta's desire for independence. Joe, could you outline for the viewers these incursions into Alberta's jurisdiction by the federal government?
Sure, and it's been going on for quite some time. I think most people are aware of the frustration that Albertans have about hostility by the federal government towards the province's immense natural resources, which of course uh, provide enormous potential, prosperity, economic growth, jobs, energy security, not only for Alberta, but for the entire country. And that's really the central message that I wanted to convey, mainly to central Canadians, that it's important not only for Alberta, but for the entire country to really protect Alberta's legitimate interests. And let me tell you a little bit about their perspective, which is based upon their constitutional jurisdiction. I mean, Section 92 of the BNA Act provides exclusive provincial jurisdiction in a number of matters, particularly matters that are directly related to the province: property and civil rights, local works, education, healthcare, and so on. Um, Interprovincial matters fall within federal jurisdiction, but the history has been both legislative and judicial that the federal government has been intruding on the province in a number of areas, particularly in respect to natural resources. And that, combined with their hostility, has really created a very unfriendly and economically damaging environment for the province. I mean, we know, for example, that there are a number of legislative and regulatory impediments to the development of resources. There's the No Pipeline Bill, C-69. That infamous bill provides a sort of a regulatory framework which basically can prevent any major interprovincial pipeline from being developed. And that has cost the province, by some estimates, almost $500 billion in lost projects. There's a cap on emissions, which the province views as a cap on production, which would also be an affront to their exclusive jurisdiction. There's a ban on tanker traffic on the west coast of Canada, but no ban on the east coast. So all those impediments to provincial jurisdiction and the development of resources, combined with the prime minister's promise to effectively grant a veto to those provinces or those indigenous communities that are opposed to development, really create a barrier in spite of the prime minister's talk about wanting to develop resources.
Yeah,
So
it's really an
this is the backdrop.
It is inexplicable. We're going to go to commercial. When we get back, we're going to talk more about the resource sector with Joe Oliver on Canadian Innovators.